Welcome back. All right, we still have Comrade Ayodele Akele and Mr. Nelson Ekujumi with us on the program this morning. All right, we just saw that that report on what played out in a part of Agege on Saturday. And I was just saying, you know, behind the scene that I like the fact that the awareness level of the majority of Nigerians is actually on the increase as to what their rights are when it comes to elections. Do you agree with me, comrade?
Well, maybe it's an isolated case, but the truth is that maybe the camera was lucky to be around to capture. You know where a lot of other things that happened yesterday were not covered.
Okay.
You know, but one of the major responsibilities of an electoral body like LASEC and INEC is to educate the members of the public. Did you see any means of education throughout the period? They were busy preparing the ground to manipulate. There was no awareness creation. There was no education. There was nothing.
For
in that of the billions of naira that was voted for this exercise. Do you even know too that my sister, I am the National General Secretary of NCP. You don't go to INEC to go and pick nomination form. INEC website, you go there, we download the forms and give it to our members across the state. Okay. LASEC doesn't have a website. They don't even have a functional email address. Wow. You will go to the LASEC office to go and queue. I'm a national general. It's never allowed. And at the level of INEC, I don't know where they got there. In fact, LASEC, as far as I'm concerned, they are grossly incompetent. They don't have experience. That's what is playing out everywhere. How can you be doling out nomination forms? You don't have a website where it could be downloaded. So this is a major setback. We don't even know how they spend the money that was voted for them because they did nothing. They did nothing the entire process. They didn't do any educational work. They didn't do any workshop. They didn't do anything to educate the masses. So maybe that guy on his own is building up himself. There is no educational, no program to propel the masses for them to know their rights. So
or even the importance of this particular election.
Did you see any campaign from last year? They just stay in their office and they are grossly incompetent for an electoral body to be doling out for in that age that you have to queue at their gate to go and take nomination form. It's unprecedented anywhere. Even INEC, we still condemn some of their processes. It's far. In fact, we give them pass mark. We give them pass mark. I'm domiciled in Abuja as National General Secretary. I don't have to go to INEC office to go and collect nomination form, for Christ's sake. Just go to INEC. And that's one of the shortcomings. That's one of the major problems. That's one of the of this arrangement that as you go to INEC office, you can't get the form anywhere. It's just too bad.
Okay. Do you consider this to be a challenge?
Please, if I can add some information.
Go ahead.
I disagree with my colleague.
Okay.
Because of the fact that I'm aware and I participated in some stakeholders meeting by LASEC. I'm also aware that LASEC, was always in the media. Whether the information was now sufficient enough is another ball game. But to say that LASEC didn't, sensitize the people enough, it didn't sensitize the people, I disagree. They may have their shortcomings about maybe lack of functional website and what have you, like he pointed out. But to say that there was no stakeholders meeting, because LASEC engaged the stakeholders across the 3 senatorial zones. There was one they held in Ikorodu, of which I was part of. So that is just
the awareness you were part of was for stakeholders.
Period.
Yes.
Stakeholders. We're talking about awareness for the electorate.
Exactly.
The awareness
the
for
people going to actually cast the vote.
The awareness for the electorate is done in the media, as well as talking to various segments of the society. They were on TV, on radio. They were adverts. Then the political parties, the responsibility of sensitizing the society about an election is not the responsibility of the electoral umpire alone.
Okay.
The political parties have a role to play. The civil society groups have a role to play. The religious bodies have a role to play. The traditional institutions. These are, yes. Okay. And also the parties. You saw the parties' posters littering the place. So except if you want to turn a blind eye.
But would you say that last year could have done better.
Of course, I'm
Yes,
not
as
disputing.
an election.
I'm not disputing that.
Let's talk about the quality of the internet democracy we saw play out prior to this election, because many have started talking about the hope for the future of politics. One would have expected that we'll see younger people participate, you know, opening the space for women and all of that, but that was not the case. We had a situation where the ruling party had a lot of crises. There were a lot of protests. Certain people were saying certain candidates were selected. There was not proper primary. Do you think things could have gone better? What's the impact of that on the quality of leadership we're going to have in Lagos in the next 4 years?
Well, the impact of imposition or lack of internal democracy in political parties is that, you know, whoever emerges, you know, we first of all have his loyalty to whoever facilitated his emergence, because the issue of lack of internal democracy is lacking in almost all the political parties in our climate, and it's something we must continuously, you know, talk about with a view to making things get better. But we cannot just keep quiet and allow it to go on. But we know that definitely it will affect the quality of the people who will be thrown up to occupy those offices.
So the not too young to run bill was recently thrown out of the National Assembly. We were hopeful that local government elections will encourage younger people, I mean, to
But
participate
I saw a lot of young people
who
on posters
attempted.
anyway. On posters,
You needed to see how the primaries played out. A lot of younger people
posters,
saw an
yes,
opportunity to
A window.
find an open
Yes.
space. How do you think we can encourage the grassroots to be used, you know, as a platform for younger people, women, to also
actively
participate
involved,
in political leadership?
Unfortunately, it's already bundled, you know, in this local government election conducted by LASEC. And the reason, I mean, look at the public secretary of APC yesterday saying that, forget about APC constitution. The position is all, you are away all this while, nobody can just come and disrupt what is on the ground. It's shameful. You don't even respect your party constitution. You say you are promoting. Some of us went through hardship for this democracy, but people don't value it. And I can predict that if they continue this way, they are going to kill this democracy, and it's going to fall on everybody's head, not Ayodele Akele alone. It is better to do what is right than manipulating the entire process. For example, you don't have to have money in my party, and that should be the philosophy that Gani put on the ground. If you are credible and you have resources, you shouldn't be denied contesting. Look at our youths, unemployed, credible materials. They can't participate in this local government election because of the conditionalities. A way of liberalizing is to ensure that the window is open for everybody to participate, including men and women.
Let me butt in here. Even the youths that are unemployed, that we think are that credible, they are products of this same sick society. Excuse my use of that language. But what I'm trying to say is, when these youths also get into that place, because that's what they've seen over time, that kind of power, don't you think they will also be,
about when you say a youth is unemployed. I can't trust someone
who is not employed.
There's no problem being unemployed, but I'm concerned about even if you didn't get job from the system.
Exactly. What do you see that as an opportunity?
With your life? What is the record of leadership and excellence that you have portrayed? Or
impact on the society, even as an unemployed youth?
I mean, this is a guy that has masters, has finished university for 2, 3, 4. I mean, it is the duty of government to provide employment. In those days when we were in school, let me tell you, we were living like kings. There is a student, there is a student bursary, there is student's loan, and even at the cafeteria, the accommodation is almost free. We eat like kings. Cost of textbooks is minimal. All those facilities they disappeared into the thin air. There are facilities for sponsorship of brilliant students. All those windows have been closed.
Yes.
And I used to say that when you close door to brilliant students, most of the people that are leaders, Awolowo and all those things, they are from poor homes. They are from poor backgrounds. People that went through Awolowo's education, if we don't have that opportunity, some of us will go into the farm. That's the truth. So that one should be exhibited, that whether you are from a poor background, you must have access to education, you must have access to all these facilities that will actually bring you up to be a useful society.
I get what you're saying. You know, as long as you have the zeal, the desire to want to serve, you should be able to access.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying. But then, do we even have parameters, you know, for determining who is credible enough for political office?
Oh, well, for our party, we profile our members. We assess them periodically when the opportunity comes to. And we don't just carry out the primary. We know who is who, and they are just not denied. And of course, the members also know who is who within the party that can sell. There will be a material that can sell the party. As far as we are concerned, everybody must be given opportunity. Everybody must provide level playing ground for everybody, and that's why we are canvassing. Okay. Let the system eliminate people that are not good enough. You don't disenfranchise them. You don't close the door against them. You don't ostracize them without passing through the proper test.
Wouldn't a typical APC say the same thing?
Of course, well,
on profiling his members, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Then we can see the profiling. At the end of, you can see what they profile.
Let's
you can see the product of their profiling.
Let's move this discussion ahead a bit. Yeah. Senator Oluremi Tinubu, wife of a leader of the APC, has chided Lagosians who did not come out to vote. According to her, those who failed to vote had no right to criticize the government. I mean, one would have thought that Lagos, the commercial hub of Nigeria, should have some of the most politically minded electorates who understands the power of voting in the right votes, people. Yeah. If there's voter apathy in Lagos, some people are already suggesting that there might be a bigger voter apathy in 2019, and the impact of that on leadership is going to be cruel. How do you see us improving voter participation in future elections?
We mean?
Let me ask. Let us start with Mr. Nelson.
Well, please let me quickly address the last question. Okay. Is that the youths have to show themselves capable of taking over the mantle of leadership. If you go out during the days of elections, you will find out that most of our youths turn the streets to football fields. Yeah. You see elderly people who you expect to be on bed. They will be the first people to get to the polling unit. So our youth, we have a long way to go.
There's a disenfranchisement.
Yes, yes. I agreed. We have failed our youths, but our youths helping the situation.
How do we improve the situation? Because this pays politicians, especially those who are in the seat of power. When people don't come out to vote, it is easier to manipulate.
Yeah.
How do we encourage bigger participation, larger participation?
One of the ways by which we can encourage larger participation is by, emphasizing the education, voters' education.
Whose responsibility is that?
Voter is a collective responsibility. What we are doing here is voters' education. It's a collective responsibility. It should not be given to one person because the society is made up of various segments. Also, we must call on those who are at the helm of our affairs to be responsible in living up to the billing of their office. Okay. When they are responsible in living up to the billing of their office, it will encourage people's participation, in the democratic system. Also, we need to de-emphasize the money politicking we practice now, because it is easier for the camel to pass through the eye of the needle than for anybody to just aspire to
one political party was selling chairmanship for how much was that? 550,000.
550,000.
How many young Nigerians?
It's a way of disenfranchising quite a number of people. Somebody like me, it will be very difficult for me to access such forms.
Maybe you are just
I think that's what the NCP is actually fighting. Part of what you're fighting for.
The NCP's fight against the imposition of those fees should be encouraged. Like he rightly said, the political space that had been liberalized now was because late Chief Gani Fahimi saw reason why we must make the space available for anybody. So we must encourage them to explore the law, in getting that done for us. So it's a step in the right direction.
All right, let's even look at the whole makeup of, the local government, as an arm of government that is closest to the grassroots. I am thinking that one of the reasons why a lot of people don't show so much interest when it comes to issues concerning elections at the local level is because that arm of government has not been delivering to the people. Sure. Now, when you ask people at that level why they are so ineffective, they are quick to say the state government have not allowed them the required autonomy to perform as they should. Now, do you think there's a deliberate attempt by the state government to stifle?
Of course, there is.
Okay.
You know, it's the closest arm of government to the people. And what APC did in Lagos this election is to consolidate their ground for 2019. They don't want to take chance. They don't want to lose any local government. Otherwise, how can NCP constitute a threat? You are in government. If you deliver, people will vote for you. But nothing on the ground for APC to show in Lagos State at all local government levels. I live in Agri, there is no public water for me to drink. And my security, I provide more for myself. I provide every goddamn thing. Forget about this candle light in the streets. That is being a vulcanizer cannot use to pump tire.
Don't say candlelight.
A vulcanizer cannot, a woman, a pepper seller, a pepper grinder cannot tap it. I mean, it's just as far as I'm concerned, it's window dressing. So, what has Lagos State government to show for hijacking local government fund to show all the local government are shambles? You don't give peanut to this, and that's why they insist. That's why they keep on teleguiding, because they know what it means. They don't want a local government to slip off their shoulders. What is the merit? You are in government for years, allow level playing ground for everybody. If you have delivered, you will win the election. The predictor is not going to be written, and it has been written. But like I said, why we predicted, this is not how local government should be run. State government wants autonomy. But they are killing, they don't want autonomy for local government. That is the reality. And that's why there is problem.
But then, this idea of autonomy has been greeted with a lot of division. So we have seen NUT kickstarting a national protest against local government autonomy. They would prefer that their salaries keep coming from state government. How come there's so much division even amongst workers?
The reason is clear. If the state government have allowed local government to function properly, they do them maybe pittance. That's not even enough to pay salary to do many things. In those days, local government owns schools, local government owns dispensary, local government a lot of. These are the closest.
Even
to
a lot of the I don't know what revenue sources that belong to local government have been taken over by the state government. But don't you think? Let's come to Mr. Ekujumi for a bit. Don't you think that it would have been a plus for the state government if they allow local government under them, to deliver to the people, in the sense that they will get more people on their side in that way? Don't you think so?
I think the first step to the delivering of democratic dividend to people by the local government is by having a democratically elected administration in place. That is number one. Then number two is that the local government, when they are elected into office, the people at the grassroots, we need to sensitize them to hold whoever is elected into office, to hold them accountable. You see, this local government administration has been looked at as being inferior by even not only those in government, even the electorate. That is why you see, look at the voters turnout. People tell you what is. When we say local government has failed, tell me which level of government has passed. Every level of government has failed in their responsibility. But that does not mean we should fold our arms, and continue to cry. It means we must guide our loins and continue to insist on the right things being done. That the local government as it is today, those functions of theirs, how have they been able to perform on them? Part of the function of local government is to construct markets, build feeder roads, collect rates and levies, registration of bets, and what have you. And local government is the arm of government that makes governance at various levels, make their facilities or their amenities accessible to the ordinary. So once we allow the local government to be peopled by men and women of character, by men and women who have the pedigree, I believe we'll be on the right track. The issue about the local government autonomy that you are talking about is a constitutional matter. Nifemi just said now that the NUT knew what they went through when the local government had their autonomy in the past. That was why they are refusing. If you ask me, until we have that amendment, I will not be somebody to join the fray, because I believe rightly, if we have that amendment that can grant autonomy to local government, that will make it a law that the local government should be the creation of the people of the local government rather than the creation of the states.
Government. Okay.
That is when we can look at
We're
that.
rounding up now. Let's begin to look at the political implications of the recent elections we've had in Osun West Senatorial District. We saw the PDP winning. The good news for PDP now is that they have settled finally the case at the Supreme Court, and so they are rebuilding. The recent election in Lagos, what impact do you think it will have on the influence of the All Progressives Congress in Southwest Nigeria?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, there is no difference between PDP and APC. 80% of the members of the APC today are people that migrated from PDP to. So, I mean, they are the same. And that's why we are telling Nigerians generally, PDP have disappointed. APC, why are you following these deadwoods? For Christ's sake. Of course, they will continue to cheat you. They will continue to undermine you. Well, not that you don't have a choice, there are other political parties.
Don't you think that's also a question for other political parties to as well answer?
Which question?
Why can't I, as an electorate, put my trust on an NCP, for instance?
Well, because the reason is clear.
Do you understand my question?
I understand. I'm saying openly on TV, APC or PDP can never win an election without bribing, without rigging. If it's a free and fair election, the elections that I participated in Lagos, I never gave a dime out. I got votes that were given on principle. Voluntarily. We believe in this. They won't allow electors to cast.
What about the idea of identifying all these other smaller parties who share?
We have the same status legally.
Have a mega.
They just give. We are not smaller parties.
I'm talking about
We are merging to form a mega party,
a mega structure
yes,
that can compete favorably.
You know, at par with APC or PDP.
You should know very well that APC, PDP, they have access to state treasury. That is why it's a matter of life and death. They dip hand into public treasury, and that's what they use to manipulate and consolidate themselves in power. They are already consolidated for 2019. Not that they have any special. They have the state resources to loot, to consolidate themselves in power.
That's exactly what we're saying.
Yeah.
But they have access to all these big funds.
Yeah.
Now, the NCP...
But it's not right.
Hold on, sir. The NCP and other parties might not have access. But the little you have, can't you all come together? You know, put all that together and form a mega party so that you can at least...
It's like we're selling you a political idea right now.
No. And we were approached during the formative days of APC. We thought we can only collaborate with the political parties. We cannot change our identity. It's going to be a betrayal. We don't share the same thing. We don't share the same program. We share free education. We don't share free education. We don't share free medical. We don't share free employment. We don't share. I mean, what? Look at. You can imagine if we have flirted with APC, by now we will have been regretting, because everything that APC stood for, that is a model, has been jettisoned.
It's all right.
And it's going to be a stigma on national conscience party. So it's better for us to remain alone, standing for what is right, even if we are
as a lone voice in the wilderness.
Gani was very credible.
Okay.
Everybody miss Gani.
Mr. Ekujimi, it appears that the dominance of APC has been threatening with the regathering of the almighty People's
PDP.
Democratic Party. Do you concur with that?
Well, I am not comfortable with you mentioning just APC and PDP. I'm sure you are aware that we have so many other parties. I wouldn't want you to reduce their mention via this media.
No, I'm not, to be honest with other parties, I'm not reducing anything. I'm just concerned about the numbers. You have an election and then APC has 150,000, PDP has 80,000, and then you are counting all that results, you're counting 22, 250. I'm just being logical.
No, you see, the truth of the matter is that those other parties, that we are not mentioning, that that they are not prominent, they have a lot of work to do.
Exactly.
Because the votes you are mentioning to those other parties were casted by Nigerians. So it means those parties have earned that trust. So it means those other parties have a lot of work to do to make the people see things their own way.
That's right.
So it is important for them.
Yeah.
That's right.
So the other parties, you know, have a lot of work to do.
But let me
Last words, please.
Yeah, let me just say
Our
this.
time is
For
almost
example,
up. Yeah.
look at the trauma that National Conscience Party went through since May. When this election process started, when it giving room, we were almost subjugated by Lasek in the process. Where is the room for us to campaign? Where is the room for us to go? We left them, we now went to the court. You know, put parties in power, like PDP or APC. Look at what APC did to PDP. They racked PDP. They hate opposition. So if we are not, if the APC Lagos State last year has given us room, we will have clear 2 or 3 months to campaign. We were either in the court, going to LASEC, clarification, looking at court judgment, and so on and so forth. These are issues that no average political government in power will want opposition parties to try.
It's all right, gentlemen. Thank you
That's
very
the
much for your time on the show today. We've been
Our time is
speaking
up.
with National Secretary NCP, Comrade Ayodele Akele, always passionate at all times. Thank you very much for finding time
Thank you, sir,
to
for
come.
coming.
Nelson Ekujime is a public affairs analyst who also joined us on the show today. It's always a pleasure to have you come.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank
All
you.
right, even as we hope for better democracy in Nigeria, we still have to keep pushing. And we can't relent at this time. Just